Hey you guys, it's Cayley, and I feel like this is like after dark recording or something because even though it's the middle of the day, I turned off the lights and I was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to film a What Sold video before I left. So popping on real quick, lights are still off. It's a little moody in here, maybe different than what you guys are used to seeing. Sneak peek, I don't know if you can tell, but a lot of things have been changing in the office. We've got another desk in here. We've rearranged a little bit of the photo station back there to create another shipping station. Gonna do more videos on that soon, but again, sneak peek, and we're gonna dive right into this What Sold video. Sales were really good last week. I am very proud of our team for what we are accomplishing, and the results are speaking for themselves. When it comes to increasing average sale price, we have we've been putting in the work and it's definitely starting to show, and hopefully that will continue to go up and up. Everything that you see here on this screen happened between July 3rd through the 29th. That is a Sunday through Saturday. That's how all these platforms calculate their weeks. Therefore, that's how I calculate my weeks because it's just easier to pull the reports that way. So in total, I sold 228 items for a gross item sales. So just the gross amount for the items, not including shipping, $6,638.90, making my average sale price between the two platforms, sorry guys, my voice keeps cutting out, of $29.12. Estimated cost of goods was around $1,100, making my estimated gross profit before any fees here at the office, expenses, things like that, $4,306.32. Some things to note is that both eBay and Poshmark were pretty high on the quantity, and the average sale price is getting to be about the same as well, which is really nice to see because on Poshmark, typically I'm really low and moving out some older items. So it's nice that both of them are steadily creeping up and starting to have some full price sales on both platforms essentially equally. And I've noticed a huge shift in the amount of items that we are shipping out. So we're spending a lot less time in the beginning having to list and having to ship it out. We just have to make sure that we are picking up higher ASP items so that we can reduce our workload. But one thing I've noticed as I've been doing the higher ASP model is that it's really easy to slip into picking up items for a high ASP, even if they have a lower sell-through rate. So it's been really hard to stick to the 100% sell-through rate, especially if you come across something where, let's say it's got a 50% sell-through rate, but they're all selling for like $40 to $50. So I have to kind of weigh my options with that, but I did notice myself starting to slip a little bit on our sell-through rates. So all these items that I pulled today are high sell-through rates unless otherwise specified, and in general, across every form of sourcing that I have, which would be going to thrift stores, thrifting myself. I also have people in other states that thrift for me and ship me thrifted items that they find. And then I also have like inventory buyouts or death pile buyouts. So all of these are a combination of that. With all of that included, my average cost of goods tends to be somewhere between $5 and $6. So you can assume that's what most of these were as we pick them up. All right, let's dive into some of these sales. We're going to start with eBay. This was definitely a bolo sale. This is an Ed Hardy women's hooded mini dress. And in general, Ed Hardy items do pretty well. If you get some of the older like Y2K things, they're definitely going to go for a lot more. I think Ed Hardy still makes stuff possibly, or their more modern stuff doesn't sell for as much, but the brand in general is pretty solid, and this is a very unique tattoo print hooded dress in a very clean condition. So definitely keep your eye out for Ed Hardy. Let's see, this actually went through an international sale through the eBay global shipping program, or international shipping program is what they call it now. I listed it for $125, no offers, flat pricing. It sold very quickly at my full asking price, so I was really happy with that. Next up is another bolo sale. This is Johnny Was. And I almost never come across this brand myself. I got this in wholesale, meaning somebody was thrifting for me in another state and found this to send to me. I paid up for this. I paid $15 for this, and it sold very quickly for my full asking price, again, like the Ed Hardy dress, for $125. And this one came from Trash Pandas Wholesale, which is on Instagram if you guys are interested in checking out their business. They are very new to wholesaling items. They've been at it for, I want to say, I don't know, at least with me, probably about 6 months now. And they're doing a fantastic job and quickly growing. It's a new business model for a lot of people. People are getting out of reselling themselves and reselling their thrifted finds to other resellers, and it's very cool to watch. But if you guys are interested, it is Trash Pandas Wholesale, all one word, for the handle on Instagram. So I got this from them for $15, and it sold for my full asking price for $124.88. Very happy with that sale. Also very happy, whether it's wholesale or even at a thrift store, to pay up for items if I know that they're going to flip quickly and for some decent money. Next up is an item that I found myself a couple of months ago. I actually mentioned this brand in a recent thrift haul because I came across this brand, Reese, where it looked like a lot of the chain stores in my area had gotten like a buyout or a liquidation from this brand. And I talked about in that thrift haul, I think it's literally the one right before this, but about how I had to be careful with which ones I picked up. This was one of the ones that sat for a little while. There's actually a couple of these Reese items in today's video, but they're very, very solid. Even though they did sit for a little bit, they still sold for my full asking price. This one is a New Tags midi dress. Very pretty. And if I were to come across this brand pre-owned for like $5, I would get it all day long. It has a very good following and very good value, and it retains its value right now. So if you find it, I would definitely get it. These ones I found all New Tags, and I paid up for all of them. This one I paid $12.99 for. And one of the things that I liked about this brand, I guess we didn't show it here, I have the style on the New Tags, but on the pre-owned ones, it also has the style name on the inside material tag. So it's really, really nice to be able to find, look up, and know exactly what you're going to sell the item for without much work. This one sold for my full asking price of $94.88, and again, I paid around $13. Next up is another sale that I found myself at my local thrift store, and I don't know if you guys ever shop the linen section, but they put them on these really like interesting hangers that make it almost impossible to get it off the hanger. So sometimes it can be hard to open up like a blanket or curtains and stuff and look at the full view of it. So you kind of have to just do your best and hope that the rest of the item is okay. At least that's what I end up doing. But I came across this Anthropologie quilt. It was really pretty. I definitely did not realize that there were as many issues with it as there were, because I did not take it off the hanger. I just picked it up and I was like, you know what, this is gonna sell. So I paid $8.99 for this, got it back to the office. We went to list it and realized it had like multiple holes in it. Like I was okay with 1 or 2 holes, but it was everywhere. So I had to significantly reduce the value of this item. But I still made a really, really good profit off of it. So I paid $8.99. We listed for around $50. We included flaws, and it ended up selling on an offer for $42.40. And I think it sold within about a week of being listed too, which is awesome. Had this not had flaws, I probably would have listed for closer to $100. Anthropologie comforters, I don't think have 100% sell-through rate on eBay, but it's pretty darn close. And as you can see by the sale of this very tattered item, it has a really good following. So I would definitely keep your eye out for Anthropologie, any kind of bedding really, and curtains. Next up is a brand a lot of people don't know about and is pretty new to me. It is, I think it's pronounced Fall Raven. So if you guys come across this, they make really interesting pieces and they have a really good sell-through rate and they retain their value pretty well. So you guys can see this is pretty interesting. I don't know how to even explain their aesthetic. I think you would have to just look them up and see. But this is a pair of like cargo pants. And we listed this for around $65. You can see that it did have a couple of flaws. It's still sold for its full asking price of around $65. This is a brand I get so excited about every time I find it, and it seems to sell even no matter how destroyed it looks, as long as the soles are in good condition, which are Red Wing shoes. And when I used to shop at the bins frequently, this would be something everyone would pass on. I think because the boots are super heavy, they didn't want to pay the weight. And then most of the time they look like this, where they've got a lot of wear. But I would pick them up all day long and sell them for like close to $100. So it was really nice to be able to know about this brand and everyone to pass on them at the bins. I find this now in regular thrift stores and I do the same thing. This brand holds its value really, really well. And like I said, as long as the soles are in pretty good condition, the exterior of it doesn't seem to matter. I mean, this has a lot of spots. They almost always have Red Wing written on the tongue or the side of the shoe as well. Some of them are more rare than others. This one was a pretty normal one. They're just a pair of waterproof boots and steel toe. I paid $15 for these and they sold for around $58. And like I said, yeah, just a really great brand, even with some maybe aesthetic flaws, I'd call them, still hold a lot of value. All right, next up is something I've been talking about a lot, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but J. Crew blazers, definitely a bolo. This is J. Crew outlet or factory, whatever you want to call it. That's what those two dots mean. And this was the schoolboy blazer in a size 4 and a really nice neutral tan color. We paid just over $5 for this, listed for around $50, and it did sell for our full asking price. So very happy with that sale. And this is just a tried and true bolo for me. So I get excited every time I come across J. Crew blazers. Here's another bolo. I don't find it very often, but when I do, I also get excited. They are Diesel men's jeans. This brand holds a lot of value and has a really good sell-through rate in the men's department. These are called the Diesel Viker jeans. And usually I can tell that they're Diesel from this little branding right here, but otherwise they just feel very high quality and they usually have a back patch as well. These ones are button fly. They're pretty decent size. We listed for around $50. I paid $9 and they sold for an offer to watcher of $42.40. Next up is a brand that has some bolos, is usually more bread and butter for me, but if you find dresses or certain ones of their shirts, they can sell for a lot. This is a ruched draped midi dress in a size 3, which is a size US large, so kind of a more unique item. I listed this for around $50 and it did sell for my full asking price, but this brand in general makes like really minimalist capsule wardrobe pieces and people seem to really love them. This is a new brand to me. I got this in wholesale as well. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known about the brand. It is called Las Serenas. And if I remember correctly, I think when I looked this up, it did not have 100% sell-through rate, but it had a good sell-through rate and they were going for quite a bit. This is a very interesting jungle print blazer, really gorgeous. This one sold really quickly for $40 and I think I might have dropped my asking price slightly just to account for sell-through rate, but this brand in general seemed to hold a lot of value in blazers. Next up is a tried and true bolo for me. They are vintage Skechers shoes, and women's, men's doesn't seem to matter. Vintage Skechers shoes I can pick up all day long and sell for like $40 to $60, and it doesn't even seem to matter the size. These are a size women's size 6, which is really small. And you can see they have some wear on the leather. Pretty plain looking. You might pass them on the shelf, but this chunky platform heel in the vintage shoes are what people are looking for, and I've just sold so many of these and love finding them. I paid $6 for these, listed for around $45. They sold very quickly on an offer to Watcher for $38.15. Keep your eye out for the vintage Skechers, and I always put the word or the keywords Y2K in the title. It helps to sell them, as well as chunky. Here's another one that performs well in the older styles. It is Betsey Johnson. So this is a vintage Y2K Betsey Johnson zip hoodie. I have sold a lot of like Y2K era Betsey Johnson items, and they always perform really, really well. This one was no exception. I got this in wholesale as well. We listed for around $50. It sold very quickly on an international sale for $42.40. This brand I think I mentioned in my last what sold from last week video. I got 2 pairs of these at a thrift store, and they both have sold very quickly. And I think somebody mentioned in the last one that these shoes are made for people with plantar fasciitis, I believe is what they said. So orthopedic shoes. These are an athletic sneaker, and you can tell they do have a little bit of wear to them, but we're in pretty good condition. I will definitely be on the lookout for this brand Kuru from now on. And one of the sourcers in my area found this for around $4. We listed them for $37-ish, and they sold for our full asking price. Next up is a Vince sweater. This is not a brand that I tend to get. However, this was 100% cashmere. And I don't know if you guys have noticed in your own stores, but sweaters are selling like crazy right now, which is funny because it was just 90 degrees yesterday where I live. But people are already starting to buy fall stuff. So just keep that in mind while you are sourcing, especially if you're someone like me that is ahead of schedule sourcing, or maybe you schedule ahead of time, to just be aware of that, because if you're ahead of schedule, that means you also need to transition seasonally a lot sooner than most resellers who are just listing the same what they get that day. So keep that in mind. We are transitioning to fall and winter now, and I'm seeing a lot of sweater sales. So specifically cashmere is performing really well. This is a Vince cashmere extra small cardigan. We listed it for $40. It did have a small snag on the front, but it still sold for our full asking price, so I was really happy with that sale. This is another kind of Y2K item. The brand is South Pole, not a brand I get a whole lot of, but these were a very on-trend, like baggy Y2K style jean, and they had pretty good comps. So I got these, and they did sell very quickly for my full asking price of $34.88. And I think the reason that they sold so quickly is because I had the right keywords in there, which were baggy and Y2K. Next up is a linen brand that performs really, really well for us. I can see this brand is probably going to die down very soon, but for right now, it's performing well. It is Flax Linen Pieces. This is a really pretty, interesting women's linen top, and I got this in wholesale as well. We listed this for $45, and it sold very quickly on an offer to Watcher for $38.15. Here's another cashmere piece. I don't know much about this brand. It's Mini Rose, but it seems to be performing well. And in general, like regardless of brand, 100% cashmere pieces in good condition can usually bring a good profit, again, regardless of brand. We got this at a thrift store. We listed it for $40. It sold very quickly for our full asking price. And I think we actually got another one of these in a different color as well. Next up is a good bread and butter for us. This is a J. Jill women's size 4X. When it comes to the like 4X pieces, 3X and 4X in J. Jill, they're actually more of bolos for me. They sell for significantly more than the 1X and 2X, so I'm always really happy to find those. So this is just a pretty plain gray open cardigan, but it was a size 4X. We listed for around $35. It sold on an offer to watcher for $29.65. Next up is a J. Crew item. I've been experimenting with this brand for a while, trying to figure out what it is in factors that seems to make this brand sell. I'm still figuring it out, to be honest with you, but I do know that J. Crew denim pieces seem to perform well. And when I say denim, I don't mean their jeans. I mean like denim shirts, denim dresses, and things of that nature, denim jackets. But yeah, their jeans don't seem to perform that well. But this is a white denim dress. I think, yeah, it was a knee length, so a little bit longer length dress. And we listed this for around $35. It's sold on an offer to watcher for $29.65. Here's another good bread and butter item. When it is plus size, it is Michael Kors 2X. This one I actually found new with tags, and I noticed this week I had a lot of new with tag sales, and so I don't know what that's about. I don't know if people are, honed in on buying new clothing for like the new school season or what, but I did notice a big uptick in new with tag sales this past week, and finding something new with tags does not mean you should always pick it up, but it is a factor that I would heavily consider when you are picking up items. So this is a Michael Kors 2X top, do really good in plus size with this brand. New with tags top, so I could ask a little bit more for it. I listed it for around $30, and it did sell for our full asking price. This was an interesting sale. This is the brand Chubbies, and I didn't realize that they made polos, and this was a very cool graphic Chubbies men's polo, and so I listed it a little higher because of the graphic. We listed it for around $35. It sold very quickly on an offer to watcher for $29.65. Here's another good bread and butter item to look out for with a pretty high sell-through rate. It is Catherine's, especially when they are larger plus sizes. This one was a Catherine's 4X, so kind of like J. Jill, going to sell a lot quicker in the 3X and 4X. And this one was also new with tags. You can see this retails for around $50. I listed this for $30, and it did sell for my full asking price very quickly. So usually when you pick up new with tags items, you're looking at probably max only being able to get half of the retail price. However, it just shows that this brand has a really good following in this size because it did sell for almost the retail value. Next up are the Poshmark sales. I got these Teva sporty kind of like hiking sandals for around $5, and they sold on Poshmark for $34, which is right around where I thought I would get for these. And just in general, outdoorsy shoes are doing pretty well this time of the year. I try not to focus on like the fancy sandals. If I do pick up sandals, it's almost always going to be the outdoorsy ones, and Teva can be a really good brand. This one is a Zara item, and I come across and am offered a lot of Zara, and I pass on like 90% of it, but lately I've been learning some of the better styles in Zara that do well. This one's called the Boogie Pant, funny name for it, but this style seems to be performing really well. It had pretty strong comps. This is only a size 2, but it is that like baggy style pant, so it is probably going to perform well. Plus it was that like bubblegum pink, and people are really into that right now because of the Barbie movie. We ended up selling this for $38 on Poshmark, which is right around where I expected to get. This is a newer brand to me, but definitely a bolo, especially in bigger sizes. This is Lisa Bain, and they make some really like, I I want to call them like minimalist artsy, where kind of neutral colored, but they do have a lot of login looky pieces. And this is a good example of that. Every time I've come across this brand, this comps have been very, very strong. So I would definitely say that it is a bolo. These are a pair of wide leg pants, size extra large. And we listed these originally, I think, for around $70. I accepted an offer of $50 just to move it quickly, but I do think I could have held out longer if I wanted to. This brand has really strong comps. Next up is something I used to talk about last year during fall and winter, which are kids jackets. So any kind of like bolo brand for jackets in the adult section are almost always true in the kids section as well. Kids stuff is usually priced significantly lower than the adults, at least at my thrift stores. And sometimes they can even sell for as much as the adult items. So this would be a great example of something you'd want to look for in the kids section, which is a North Face kids jacket. This is a camo puffer coat, and this is a boy's size extra large. I can't remember how much I paid for this, but we ended up selling it for $42. That's crazy, right? For a kids item. I'm trying to think. I think I also got like a Patagonia boys coat several months ago, and it sold, I think, for like around $50. So really crazy comps on some of this stuff. But like I said, most of the bolo brands for coats and jackets in the adult section will be the same for kids. So if you want to take a look through the kids section, I have great luck doing it pretty much every year during fall and winter. They're really easy to spot, and they can bring some good money. Next up is another J. Crew item that sold really well. This is a tiered extra large dress. And I don't know what else to say other than it just kind of had that it factor. It's just very on trend right now. And it did end up selling for $38 on Poshmark. So I'm really happy with that sale, especially for a mall brand. And I'm still trying to figure this out. So if you guys have any suggestions on J. Crew items and what factors seem to be the ones that really pull the sale through, then let me know down below. Next up is a good brand to look for in the footwear section, especially during fall and winter. It is Sorel. And I actually found these new without box towards the end of this past winter, and they have sat, and I've dropped the price a little bit. They ended up selling for $55 on Poshmark. I probably could have increased the price now that we're moving back into fall and winter, but I'm just not in the practice of doing that. They just sell when they sell, and I'm still happy with the profits that I made because I only paid around $6 for these, and like I said, they sold for $55. Definitely even pre-owned, a good brand to be on the lookout for. Next up is another new tag item that sold. I don't pick up a lot of Carhartt. The comps have really dropped. Has a pretty good sell-through rate, but usually you're looking at like $15 to $20 on most of their items unless you find a more rare significant piece. But this one was new with tags. It was a Texas graphic Carhartt hoodie, and it ended up selling for $34 on Poshmark, which I thought was pretty good for Carhartt. And again, with the new with tags factor, sometimes can increase a lot of value. What you want to remember with new with tags is you still want to look for a good sell-through rate. So I kind of use new with tags as a factor to get something if I want to pick up an item, usually pre-owned in that brand, but the comps are like $15 to $20, so I leave it behind. If I find that item new with tags and I know I can get at least $25 for it, that's usually when I'll pick it up and really heavily consider the new with tags. Next up is another brand that performs really well in plus sizes. It is Ralph Lauren, Ralph Lauren, all of their lines with exception to chaps. Plus size tops perform really well. Just a bread and butter, but definitely one worth looking for because they flip pretty quickly. This one is just a polka dot 2X top, sold for $25. This is another item that has been performing pretty well for me. They are men's Abercrombie and Fitch jeans. I found a couple pairs of these for really cheap for $3.50 each. They both sold for around $35 very quickly. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for Abercrombie & Fitch men's jeans from now on. Here's another Reese item. This is a cashmere blend sweater. This one was also new with tags. Very gorgeous color. It sold for $72 and I paid $7.99 for that one. And one of my favorite bread and butter brands, it is Knox Rose Extra Large. I have started slowing down on this brand a little bit. I still look for the larger sizes, but one thing I try to avoid now are the super sheer items. So sometimes you'll get like a top. This one is not super sheer, but you'll get a top kind of like this, and there'll be no lining, and it'll be a super sheer top. I've learned that those ones tend to sit. So I am starting to narrow down what I pick up in this brand, but this was a really gorgeous top. And it sold pretty quickly at $25, which is my full asking price for this item. So really happy with that. And I thought I would mention this brand again because I haven't talked about it in a while. Next is Nike. Kind of like J. Crew, I am still figuring out what I still want to pick up in this brand. I do know that some other sweatshirts that are more like wacky like this one can do well. I always look up the style name if I come across a wacky one like this, and sometimes they sell for a lot of money, but in general Nike for me has kind of died down. There's only certain pieces I'll pick up. This one we listed for around $40 on Poshmark, and it sold for what I was expecting to get for it, which was $34. Next up is another cashmere piece. This is a Beth Bowley. I don't know much about this brand, but it was 100% cashmere, interesting silhouette. It sold for $35 on Poshmark. Moral of the story, cashmere is selling now, so be on the lookout. Here's another cashmere blend item. This is a cotton cashmere Billy Reed kind of like waffle knit sweater. And Billy Reed retails for quite a bit. They make men's and women's, but they don't have the best sell-through rate, but there are certain pieces that can do well, like this one. So, obviously do your comps with the style, but sometimes this brand can be good. We ended up selling this one for $45. And lastly, sometimes I like to end on a bang. Sometimes I like to end with a bread and butter. This is Old Navy, and it's the last item of today's video. This one was also new with tags, so just worth mentioning. This is an extra large, tall, tiered, like midi to maxi length skirts, and larger size Old Navy when it comes to like midi to maxi length stuff. Skirts and dresses perform really well for me, and it's just a bonus if they're new with tags, but great bread and butter to look out for. Don't discount Old Navy because some of their pieces can do well. And I've even noticed on their larger size long sleeve like peasant tops, sometimes those can go for $25 as well if you've got a good one. So don't discount it. I sell quite a bit of Old Navy, but I'm definitely looking for only certain pieces. This skirt sold for $30 on Poshmark, which is just crazy. And it just shows you that there is a following with some Old Navy pieces. Okay, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe down below. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified every single time I post these videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.